America, the land of the free, and host the biggest gaming expo in the world. And this year, not only do we get new games, but new consoles. So I had to be prepared. After all, this is LA, home to the rich and beautiful. I was ready to do whatever it took to fit in and get Good Game's name up in lights. First, a new look. Next, time to fix up my diet. Yep, I was well on my way to being one of the healthy, glamorous in-crowd. Look out, E3. I'm ready to... who am I kidding? Oh, this idea was dumb. I just want to play some freaking games.
Enjoy and have a great E3.
This team came together for one purpose, to give the gift of games to everybody. You know, I think I'm gonna need some more help.
That runs at a blistering 60 frames per second.
Won't require you to check in online periodically.
Please take a look at this.
I'm Geralt of Rivia, the Witcher.
One of the great things is, okay, well, we've got this entire history. What do we want to do? Where do we want to be in the timeline? And so we picked about 1,000 years before Skyrim in this period of time called the Interregnum, which means that we don't know what happened at this time, right? There's just this period of history where it drops off. Like, yeah, that's where we want to be, because you get to actually reference all the lore that you've read from the other books, and you get to actually see that come to life, and you get to be a part of that. In a lot of MMOs, you'll kind of have these big interface elements that you're watching whether you're on cooldowns or not, and we didn't want that. We wanted to make sure that you're looking in the world again. So interactivity is huge for us. You know, there's bread over there. Okay, I can take the bread, right? And I think those, it seems like little small things, but they really make the world come to life. So let's say I'm going on a quest to help somebody, and then all of a sudden there's a dungeon over there. Okay, well, now do I go keep doing what I was gonna do, or do I veer off to dungeon? And I think that's another huge thing for us, is that exploration. If you played Skyrim and you played the Alchemy, you know that there's additives that you have, and they have things like fire, and you know, oh, okay, well, this will actually help me get fire resistance or something else. We've got the same kind of experimentation in the crafting system, but it expands into armor crafting, weapon crafting. And so if you just want to hang out and sit around the game and you're like, I don't want to go quest today, I don't want to go do these things, but I still want to talk to my friends and be in the world, then there's activities for you to do. I kind of call them Zen activities, so it's like the crafting. And we also have fishing, which is ridiculously fun for what it is. Yeah, it's great. I think one of the things that excites me is kind of our alliance war, which is the PvP element, because it takes place in Cyrodiil, which is where Oblivion took place. And you know, this alliance war, we got 3 different alliances that you can join. And so instead of like 2 alliances, you got 3 that come in and they're looking to take over keeps, and they have this huge war where they've got like trebuchets, catapults, battering rams firing, there's boiling oil, all the stuff you need for a good party, right? And so it's a lot of fun to get people in and watch their reactions. They're a little timid at first, and it's like, oh, okay, this is great.
Who's this guy Hype? Anyone seen him?
Can you tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind this new IP and the world that it's set in?
The inspiration is our world. Everyone is connected to anything, devices, cities. So all of these are becoming real, like data tracking. So really, it's just the world we live in, and we want to make a really cool gameplay out of it.
911, state your emergency, please.
Okay, I'm free.
Lose it.
Hello, I need you to stay on the line.
Hey. We showed basically seamless multiplayer. So if you're in a session, you're playing your game alone, someone can join you in that session. Like he has a session too, so we merge them together seamlessly. And then there's gameplays. What we showed was hacking. So someone can come in your game, try to hack you, take something from you, then run away, and then you have to take it back. You know, so it's essentially being connected is more content. It's more game dynamics. So seamless. That's the way it's the middle zone between single and multi as well. So you can be merged with multiplayer people and single player people.
Okay, so usually there's awards given out at E3, but for some reason we were left off the committee, you know, to help decide that. So we've decided to give our own Good Game Awards out this year, and we'd like to award you the Best New IP Award.
Well, thanks a lot.
So
the team will be very proud.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm doing counterterrorism. Can you run us through some of the new features and changes?
One of the bigger changes that you see is also the color palette. The previous Killzone games were more gritty and dark, and what you now see in Killzone Shadowfall is that we created this really lush and colorful, vibrant world. This is also because of the PlayStation 4 allowing us to do this, because it's a much more powerful machine.
Is there a particular feature about the game that you're most looking forward to gamers experiencing?
A feature called the Owl. So in this game you play as Lucas Callan. He's a shadow marshal, and he has this super cool gadget called the Owl, which is an attack drone. It's mounted on his back, and he can use it because it will give him all these different abilities. My personal favorite is the zip line. So the flying attack drone can actually set out a zip line, and it will allow you to really freeform, make your path through the various levels.
In a time of national crisis, we need a commander-in-chief willing to kick politics right in the balls.
Saints Row 4, it starts off with the fact that you are the President of the United States. It's quite a leap for the leader of the Saints. And then, of course, an alien force invades the Earth and abducts the President. He gets put in this virtual prison where they're trying to break his mind and try to indoctrinate him and essentially make him become part of the Zin Empire. But because it's a simulation, that gives the player the ability to kind of bend the rules, and that's how you get superpowers. With the superpowers, it hits two of our core mechanics with combat, and then the same thing with navigation. I can hop in a car if I want and go all over the place, or I can glide and super sprint through the streets. We always talk about how embrace the crazy, so that's where we have all of our over-the-top fun and zany ideas, but we also talk about fun as king, where we want to make sure that whatever you're doing, it needs to be fun.
Well, maximizing the hardware in the current generation of consoles, we're going to give Best Last Gen Game to Saints Row 4.
That's awesome.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Hail to the mother chief.
Jago! Saberwolf!
Wow. Wait, you sure you haven't played before? All right, let's see what time next week.
Well, I'm learning from you. You told me. And is there one particular feature that you've added to this version that you're particularly excited about?
Yeah, so we've done two things that I'm super proud of. So one of them is I think we finally refined the combo breaker system into something that's more easily understandable, but also has significantly more depth than the original games. And second of all, a new feature we've added is this idea of something called an instinct mode. Basically, as you're getting beat down, you build up this little meter that's around your character. You hit hard punch and hard kick. It allows you to cancel out of any move. It resets your KV, it's called if you're a fighting game fan. Basically, it means you can push these two buttons and hit the guy a bunch more times before you have to do a combo finish or before he just falls over because you hit him too many times. But there's a ton of secrets buried around what that cancel move does. And then on top of that, each character has a specific instinct thing that they earn. At the show today, we're showing when you use it for Jago, he starts to heal. When you use the Saberwolf, he buffs up and gets more angry. He does more damage, he moves faster, and he can do more hits before the combo has to finish.
Goes for goal!
With FIFA for us over the last 5 years. It's really about deep innovation every single year within gameplay. Just how we can enhance physics, where not only do the collisions look good, players are now using anticipation and awareness for the very first time, creating those much more human-like instincts that we just couldn't do before. Now we're starting to see this player coming towards me. I'm aware that he's there and I can react, I can brace. We've shown some examples of players being able to move their legs out of the way because, you know, previously maybe they tripped over or even fallen, which can break the game. You can now use body position to win back the ball, which happens so much now in modern football.
Oh, that's awesome. That's gross and awesome. Oh, and Green Lantern.
We watch as it hangs above, a mysterious sphere.
The universe in Destiny is very different. It's set in our solar system many years in the future. So humanity has gone through a golden age of expansion, colonized other planets, Mars, Venus, and others. And then a collapse of some kind happens. And the only safe place left in the solar system now when the game opens is there's one last safe city on Earth. And that's where humanity has rebuilt civilization underneath the protection of this mysterious orb that they call the Traveler. No one really knows where it came from or what happened with the collapse, but so now humanity is starting to go outwards, outside the protective shield of the Traveler. And exploring the solar system, they discover that it's now been occupied by all of these hostile alien races. So the story of Destiny is you as a player, you're one of the guardians of the city. You're venturing out into the wilds and exploring to try and find out what happened.
When the game was first released, it perhaps didn't receive the reaction you were hoping for. Why did you decide to continue with it and redesign the game?
As you know, the Final Fantasy series is in its 26th year. Fans around the world, really love this series. And we were worried that, we release the game and it doesn't get the good reception. If you leave it there, then basically you've disappointed your whole fan base when they've come to expect something so great from the series. And so we had to prove to the fans that we were serious about the series. And instead of just leaving it there, we decided to rebuild it and show that this is more important than a business. It's about making our fans happy.
The Enterprise is no ordinary ship, and I'm no ordinary captain.
Well, what we really want the players to take a look at is the new limit break system that we've introduced into the party battles. Many of you probably have remembered the limit break system for Final Fantasy VII. We've taken that and tweaked it for Final Fantasy XIV, and this time made it a party-based attack where the whole party, by fighting, will fill up the limit gauge, and then depending on which type of role of character uses the limit break, you'll get a different type of attack or defense or healing. Depending on what type of enemy you're fighting, you'll talk it over with other people in your party to decide who is going to use it, what type of action you're going to use. It will be something that will basically transcend MMOs, something that you wouldn't expect in an MMO. It's more like a console game type of action, but we're having that actually appear in an MMO.
Titanfall is an epic game about small-scale and large-scale battle. It's got infantry combat, so you've got the small-scale pilots. They're like infantry ground forces, and they can run on walls, they can double jump, highly maneuverable. And they need that maneuverability because the large-scale epic combat is the Titans. They're these big machines of war. They're also very agile, and the Titans are called down by the pilots. So the pilots call down their Titans, they get in, and they have these huge, immense battles. So you got Titans fighting Titans, pilots fighting pilots. But the thing that makes it really exciting is the crossover combat when they fight each other, and you get pilots and Titans all mixed up together.
What sort of challenges are you facing when creating a balance between what would seem like such unmatched opponents?
It's a huge challenge because typically in a shooter you just have one scale of warrior fighting against themselves. But in this game it's asymmetric but balanced combat, and that's a tremendous challenge to make the map feel right when you're big and the map feel right when you're small. And it's also really exciting because when you see something from different perspectives, it looks different and unique, and it's like a different experience whenever you're in those different perspectives.
Well, I know Titanfall has won a lot of awards already, but we'd like you to give the Good Game Award for Best in Show.
Oh, that's awesome.
So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I can't wait to play the game.
Thank you.
Well, Nintendo may not have had a press conference this year, but I think you can see they still have a massive presence at E3 and a really strong lineup of games, so let's check some out. There's all different kind of moves and stuff.
Yeah, like that's what's fascinating.
Nice.
So many. That's kind of most fascinating. Yeah. You have your map here.
Whoa! The walls! Whoa! Damn those banana peels. Somebody left those in a clever spot.
I thought I had it, and then the hang glider was like, wow.
You thought you had it, but you didn't.
The evade just at the right time, and it kind of gives you a... So I think maybe throw a couple...
Go, Pikmin, go!
A useful distraction. Northcrest Manor. Somewhere in here rests the Baron's precious heirloom.
It's up to the player to define their playstyle. We don't want to tell you how to play. So we just set up some scenarios, and you kind of have to get creative. How are you gonna, get past these guards? It's not gonna be easy, but it's gonna be a different kind of challenge.
If those scum break through the gates of Northcrest, that's where they'll fall.
It is a stealth action adventure, which means you can play it in a lot of different ways. For me, it's about bringing, a lot of other games have, stealth as a side, little brother kind of thing. I think the fact that we have the big brother is the stealth. And even if you want to play aggressively, you have to work with the shadows to make it work. I think that combination is what really makes this, this brand stand out.
Big opportunity with the story is that we get to see Batman becoming who we know he will, but also taking him back to this earlier part of his career where he's very used to being the best at what he does. So one of the things we're showing is how Batman can use these sensors in his cowl and the Batcomputer back at the Batcave and a network connection between the two to analyze various pieces of evidence that he finds in these different crime scenes. And then through the Batcomputer, he can simulate what deposited that evidence, and we see this visual rewind of what took place. And then he'll find other pieces of evidence and contribute more and more to the scene until eventually he figures out exactly what took place there. And then Batman can follow up and bring the guilty to justice.
Nice of you to drop in.
They think the war is over. They're dead wrong.
Wolfenstein is a first-person action-adventure game which focuses heavily on the action part, but we're trying to get in stealth as well, and we have a lot of exploration parts as well where you need to find health upgrades and such, and there might be alternative ways as well to play out different kinds of scenarios. I really like the leaning system. So you need to, you can lean up, down, left, right, like if you're holding the turrets, the laser turrets, and it just creates this really cool dynamic flow to it, and you feel safe and in control.
It's
So the most important element that we have focused on for 2014 is the element of tactical movement. That includes one-on-one battles as well, for the attacker and the defender to have multiple choices that have a very clear outcome on who wins and who loses out on that battle. Also, it connects to the team play, the support from the other members of the team. And for the first time in video games, we have allowed more than 3 members to be chosen in the team to cooperate in the attacking formation or the defensive formation. Users are allowed to choose certain areas on the pitch to initiate that strategy to be carried out by multiple players, and that also adds to the tactical element of play.
Our game takes place in this sort of new world that we've done for Call of Duty. It's a fallen America. There's been a geographical sort of change to the southern part of the United States. And now, much different than we've done in Call of Duty before, you and your squad are now the underdogs. It really sort of changes the mentality, I think, of what we've done before. But, you know, for us, it's always striving to deliver this new gameplay experience, giving players this adrenaline rush, this roller coaster ride. And one of the great things we're doing with the squad is they're a deeper part of the story than we've ever done before. And I think as we move into next gen, the deeper storytelling we'll be able to tell will be different than what we've had before. Just in terms of technology, the level of detail that we have in the characters. So we're doubling the amount of bones we're able to do from current gen to next gen just in the face of the characters. That's going to allow for a deeper emotional sort of performance in the face, the articulation of the bones, how the characters perform, and then tie that into the fact that we actually brought in this Hollywood Academy Award-winning writer named Stephen Gaghan, who wrote Traffic, he directed Syriana. You now have this squad that is a deeper connection to you as a player than we've ever had before in Call of Duty. We had the guys from the Navy SEALs come in, and it was a dog trainer for the Navy SEALs, and he said, look, here's what we do with these guys. They have these vests that they put on that cost like tens of thousands of dollars. They have this camera on behind it that actually pops up as you're using the dog, and you can see what he sees. And through this sort of tablet that you can actually interface with the dog, he can hear what you're hearing, you can hear what he's hearing, he can sniff out enemies, he can actually bark to bring enemies out of cover, and then he can also engage with enemies based on your commands through the tablets. The technology that we've been able to take with sub-D to placement map and lighting, just the level of detail we can actually get in the environments really stands out to me as something that's a cornerstone for what we can do in COD. You know, the team at Infinity Ward, they're platform agnostic, but for them, they want to make the best Call of Duty game possible on every platform.
So this is a tough one, but I have to say the best K9 FPS integration with advancements in Fish AI award has to go to Call of Duty Ghosts. So congratulations.
We're honored. Thank you very much. Thank you. The team is going to be really thrilled about this.
Oh, I'm glad. Techland are known for Dead Island. This is your new IP. Why did you decide to make another zombie game?
They wanted to approach the genre in a new way. They started thinking what was missing, what people didn't see in those games. What would the world be like between night and day? How can we make it something that people think about all the time when they are out during the day scavenging, building weapons, preparing for the night? If the whole world is like that, if the NPCs, your enemies, think in those terms, it makes the whole game more interesting.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the free running and how it's incorporated into the game?
That was something that was missing to us in the zombie genre. This is the perfect scenario to showcase the advantage of being human and alive as opposed to just shuffling on street level and you know, looking pale. This is not something you do to show off to, you know, this is not a sports competition. This is a survival skill, and our characters are built, trained that way. But we want the free running to mesh seamlessly with combat, with exploration. Because what's the point of having a sandbox open world if there are places you cannot go? So this time it doesn't work that way. If you see a building, you can run all the way towards it, you can climb, you can see what's inside.
Announcing that we're going for 64 players on the consoles for the first time, and also 60 FPS. So this is huge, you know, this is the first time we will be able to get those epic battlefield moments where you have tanks, airplanes, and vehicles all over in sort of 64-player battles in the console audience. They want to take the commander out of the game and have him be sort of a commander full-time, ordering your squads around, and we wanted to make like a full, proper experience. And and we also wanted to be able to bring the commander to tablet, so now you can take the commander experience with you while you're on the bus. So you can be on your way at work, or even better, at work, playing commander, and still be interacting with the full experience of Battlefield.
Pretty exciting. We're getting special access. You can sit in the car. Now this car belongs to Mr. McLaren. Mr. McLaren himself. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I think it suits me. Oh, I'm so alone. It's like that first time in the mod all over again. I just want some friends. I just want some friends. Oh, it's so beautiful though. Oh, Barjo, you're gonna love this. We've been playing DayZ for a year now, and it still creates moments that just can't be replicated in other games. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, I talked about this with quite a few designers. I talked about it with one of the designers of Journey last night, about how games can make these sort of really compelling experiences. I think a lot of it comes down to context. So, an example being, in some game you might come across a bus that has been beautifully filled with like gore and dead bodies and blood and stuff like that, but the player, it has no impact on the player because it's just art, it's just a prop that's been placed in the game. Whereas in DayZ, when you come across a dead player, it's a dead player or a dead body, so there's a story and a context behind that you know, and I think that gives you an emotional link to that event because you know it happened to a real person.
Dean Hall, it is my great pleasure to present to you the I'm on Top of the World Climbed Everest Award.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Awesome. Thanks very much.
Well done.
Excellent. Thank you. Good game. It's fantastic.
We're building a pirate game. What makes sense for a pirate, right? So for example, horse, we said no horse for this game, this is not the focus of it. And so, but for example, the tree running, that corner integrated, we said that this is a really nice ingredient to use and polish, to have maps that really feel more organic than ever, you know, and have a really nice intertwining between vegetation, buildings, etc. And so when you will navigate the rooftops of Arkham, Kingston and Nassau, or even some ancient Mayan temples, you have this AC feel, but in a totally different environment.
What can you tell us about the underwater sections that we saw from the demo?
Well, underwater sections are the perfect example of something that makes sense in that game, right? Not visiting underwater shipwrecks for a pirate game would seem odd, you know? So we said, we need that. But we didn't have the tech yet. We didn't have nothing. So we said, okay, let's focus on some areas, you know, small location, really well done. It's for you to play. And so we always put a lot of efforts of making sure that we design systems, locations, you know, and setups that let the player choose the way he wants to deal with. The element of the game that I really brought up, I hope that people really like, is this world. Ready for you to explore. It's really an invitation, you know, and this exploration of this huge world, the way people player want, for me is the key element of the game.
With the press conferences, quite often there are some technical issues and things that go wrong. But the demo that we saw of Assassin's Creed Black Flag, we really pushed through, stuck it out there, so we wanted to give you the award for Best Stage Playthrough at E3.
Thank you very much. The team worked very, very hard, and we'd be really happy to excel. Thank you.
We're outnumbered, mate. It's not the first time, Kenway. And it won't be the last.
Go, Sonic, go! that you're taking into consideration when designing tracks for a game like this?
One of the kind of key components is, in terms of the location selection at least, is we wanted to say, okay, if I had an ultimate garage of the most wonderful cars in the world, where would I want to drive them? And you want to drive them on the greatest driving roads in the world. It's all about incredible draw distances. It's about exciting roads, high-speed corners, all that sort of stuff. So you get engaged with the track. You get some sort of emotional reaction from driving these incredible cars around incredible locations. You know, it's the thrill of driving a supercar. And I think we've managed to capture that with driving. What a face-off zone is a set target that we want you to beat, be it like average speed or drift score, and it's not just an arbitrary figure that we pull out of the air. The figure that we present to you as a target is based on how good you are at playing the game, who else has been playing, how long they've been playing for, your skill level, the car that you're driving. So it's all tailored to your level of ability, and that's what makes it exciting, because you'll have that guy that is that tenth of a second player, and the goals that he set are balanced to him, and you'll have that guy that has, maybe it's the first time he's ever played a racing game, and his targets are balanced as well. And that's really exciting for me, because everyone walks away feeling like a winner.
So for the first time to the public, actual game footage of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
6 months into the invasion, Nilfgaard's legions had pierced the heart of the northern realms.
There's a weather changing system, so it goes from just like a normal day to a really stormy thing, and our weather system is quite advanced. So you're actually sitting on the side of a cliff looking down at a fjord area, and the waves get really choppy. It gets really windy and blustery, and the trees start blowing, and the sky darkens. And then after that, you have to go find and hunt some really scary monster in the deep woods. So it really feels. I like getting sucked into these kinds of games where it's really just dark and immersive and kind of scary.
The universe of Dark Souls 2 is the same universe as, I guess, in Dark Souls 1, but the stories take place in different locations. The enemies for Dark Souls, we take a lot of care in terms of how they attack, and we also take a lot of care in how we want the players to actually conquer the enemies as well. So that's where we first start off when we design the enemies, and from there we'll visually design them and try to come up with unique enemies that sort of fit the environment and fit the universe of Dark Souls. Our intent is not really to make a difficult game. Our intent is for the sense of satisfaction when being able to overcome. I think that sort of happiness or the fist-clenching feeling that you get is common throughout all players, or anybody really that's able to overcome the challenges. And hopefully that balance between being able to conquer something, but that something being difficult enough to get that big feeling is the main essence of why people try to come back to play this game over and over.
So on behalf of the gamers of Australia, especially my co-host Barjo, we'd like to present you with the award for most anticipated game, Dark Souls 2. Congratulations.
Dude, check out Manhattan. We should go over there later.
It's about the fragility of society, and that means that in our game, a deadly virus has been released upon New York. People start getting sick, and they can't really go to work anymore. And when they do that, the whole structure falls apart.
Ooh, they threw a Molotov, look out. Good call, thank
you. You can play the game solo if you want to. And what we have is, we call it one-shard gaming. Basically means that if you buy the game and you log into it, you can play it with everyone in the world, basically.
Shit, hold on, I think we got one more. Watch out, on the left, Yep.
We have a dynamic content system, which means that every time you go out in the world, you see different things. So you never know what's going to be around the next corner, a friend or a foe, a new event you've never seen before, or maybe it's that item you've been looking for all week.
That gun is sick. You better get it out before you lose it. Okay, I've got my flare ready to go. Cool.
It's all about immersion in the game.
So we started to develop a new next-gen engine that we call Snowdrop, where we focused on lighting, we focused on AI, we focused on destruction, we focused on online services, and also the companion gaming.
It's a gaming dating service. That's what you're saying.
Whoa, it's another group of players. Brace for PvP.
You guys ready?
Well, I've been around the whole show floor, and I'd have to say the best boost definitely goes to Dead Rising 3. I mean, look at this. This is unreal. So, I guess I'll just give this to you. Congratulations on the kids.
Jody, my job is to study strange events and then try to explain them.
Since Heavy Rain, I guess I discovered that it was possible to talk about your personal experience in a video game. And with Beyond, I guess the starting point was a little bit different, was personal too. I lost something I felt really close to in my family. And it made me want to think about what's after death and what happens when you die. And that was really the starting point for Beyond.
This thing is your friend, and he's connected to you with some kind of cord.
How will player choice play a role in the game?
You just play, you just make decisions without sometimes even knowing you're making decisions. You just do what seems right to you, and the story will adapt to that and give consequences to your actions. So some choices have very local consequences, some choices have very long-term consequences and a deep impact on the storyline. So it's really you as the player deciding where you want the story to go.
They have no idea what they're up against.
The games we develop are really based on emotion. And in order to have emotion, you need to have very good actors to convey this emotion, to create the sense of empathy with the player.
The agency wants you to join their military school program.
Ellen Page and Willem Dafoe got really involved in the project. And it's important for the audience to understand the difference between this technique that is used now compared to what video games were doing before.
My name is Nathan Dawkins. I thought it would be a good idea for us to have a little chat, get to know each other a little better.
Where actors are performing together, you got an energy, you got an interaction that you don't get otherwise. And on Beyond, everything was shot, one take, one performance, and all actors on set at the same time, which totally changes the quality of the performance.
I didn't ask to be different. I just want to go out and have friends and be like other girls my age.
You'll never be like them.
I wish there were more games trying to tell a story, trying to have a meaning. And I think meaning is probably the thing that is missing the most in our industry. We just make moments, we just make big epic action sequences, but when you think about what it really says, you discover that most games have really not much to say. And I'm really dreaming of the day where more games will have something meaningful to say, and I think this will be very exciting. It's a very unique medium. Unlike films where you're just passive and you're just watching a story that is told, in games you can participate to the story. You can be the actor or even the co-writer of the story, and it makes this medium very unique.
Watch yourself out there, Jody. I don't want anything to happen to you.
Well, we are back to our normal show next week, but I hope you've enjoyed this little slice of the awesome craziness that is E3.